Welcome to the House Therapy, the podcast that helps you to create a home that you love to live in. I'm Nina Dwaron, owner and lead designer at ISO Design and Interiors. And each week, we're going to explore practical ways to help bring more beauty, function, and flow into your space. From design and staging to organizing, downsizing, and everything in between. If you want a home that truly supports your life and your family, you're in the right place. Let's get started. I'm so excited to have Rebecca Kopel of the Rebecca Kopel Team on the show today. Rebecca is a senior real estate specialist and an award-winning broker at Royal LePage Signature Realty. Not only is Rebecca a longtime business partner, she's also a really good friend of mine. So I'm so excited to have Rebecca on the show and for her to share with you some valuable real estate insights. And so welcome, Rebecca.
Thank
How are you
you,
doing
Nina.
today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you. Well, you know what? I know a lot about you already, but why don't you share with the audience a little bit about yourself beyond what I've already said in the introduction?
That was a pretty decent introduction. I don't know
Yeah.
how much more I can add. Aside from being a realtor, I've been a realtor about 11 years. I'm second generation realtor. My dad's been in business for over 40 years. I do work with my husband, Tim Nassif, and together we are the Rebecca Kopel team. Aside from real estate, I am big into volunteering. That is my one of my major passions. So I volunteer on the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board of Directors as the Central Regional Director. I've been there for 3 years. I have been volunteering at the Ontario Realtors Care Foundation, where I am the chair-elect on their board of directors, and the York Region Food Network, which I have been with for over 15 years, I believe. So those are just sort of the board highlights, and then I have other things that I do.
Yes.
Fill a purse for a sister and Team Cat Rescue and different things like that.
Well, that definitely is one of the things that I love about you is that you give so much of yourself and your time beyond your work to the community, and I know that really stands out for you in your personal life as well, your business as well. But why don't we just get into the conversation now? I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and then
Uh-oh.
we're just gonna let the conversation flow. Okay? Sound good?
Sure.
All right, okay. So, the real estate market, let's face it, it is quite challenging right now. It's very challenging this year. But what is kind of like the biggest misconception that homeowners seems to have about the market today?
If we're speaking on the homeowner side, so essentially the homeowner or seller side,
Hmm.
it's probably, I'd almost say what the market, okay, the market is that way, but my house is
I know.
special, which every house is special and they're all different in their own way. So it is always hard to compare apples and oranges. But still, the market is a bit of a challenge. So people have to recognize that maybe the pricing isn't what it was in 2022, where the prices, took an all-time high, and now we're sort of still trying to find the
Hmm.
bottom of where the prices are going to be in 2025. So that's kind of the biggest thing I'd say is just maybe a bit misconception around pricing and where their house might fit in the marketplace.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like you and I both work with kind of the both ends of things. And right now, like buyers and sellers are on really, I think, opposite ends. Buyer says, hold off because prices are going to drop more and more and more. And sellers say, no, my house is worth this much, just as you said, right? So how do you, when you're working with, because you work with both buyers and sellers, how do you get that message across to this very disparate kind of ideas and beliefs with the real estate market today?
So sometimes it's really just testing the market, right? Like, so you really have to come out. You you can always make a case for property and why it is at price where it should be or why it is what it is. But sometimes it just needs to go to market to find out, right? And once you come to the marketplace and you find out, A, is my property desirable? Like, are people coming to see it? And B, what are they saying about it when they come through? And so those two things sort of give you an idea of where the property sits in the marketplace and how desirable it is for the buyers. And in terms of buyers, just recognizing that they have choice now is a really different mindset to get their heads around because they're so used to competing for properties
Yeah.
and for, not that much on the market or nothing available that was in their price point or what have you. Now, all of a sudden, we've got choice. They've got options everywhere. So they're they're nervous and they're a little discerning about, the properties that they go see. So you've kind of got to marry those two ends.
I would have thought that given that they do have choice now and they know that it would give them more confidence. Is that not the case?
Not really, because buyers are so used to, I almost say it's like the scarcity mindset, right? They're so used to not
We did have a good
having
run of that.
they're so used to not having the choice and not having time really to think about a property or to really, consider whether or not they want to purchase something. It's always just been, oh my gosh, we got to go put an offer in, tomorrow, or else it's going to go. So because they're so used to that, it's hard to get them into the mindset of, hey, you know what? You've got choice, you've got time, you've got options.
Mhm.
And if a property has been on the market now for a month or 2 months, it's not a bad thing, right? Whereas a year or two ago, if you saw a property listed for longer than a month or two, the buyers would say, what's wrong with it?
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Whereas now they're not
Like
saying that.
after a
They're saying,
week.
oh, look, it could be there for 4 months. And they'll be like, oh, okay, maybe that's an option.
Yeah.
But it's no longer that mindset of, oh, there's something wrong with it.
Well, do you feel that prices have bottomed out now? I know, like, I know that you don't have a crystal ball or
Let me
anything
get my
like that.
crystal ball. Yeah, hold on one second. I mean, Treb just put out their forecasts, or their numbers today, their market update. And I know they had sort of mentioned that they feel like in 2026 we're going to see a little bit of a rebound with regards to prices, but it's been a hard thing to really gauge because of the uncertainty with, the US market and
Mm.
things like that. So we kind of thought that was going to happen in 2025, right? Like
Yeah.
when I started spring of 2025, I was so optimistic that
Everybody
this year
was.
was going to be amazing, and then no, like it was much more challenging than we were all anticipating. So my crystal ball says it'll probably be a little better in 2026, but
Somewhat the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhat the same. It's gonna be pretty similar to what we're into right now. I don't see a really marked difference.
Right. Well, the last interest rate drop, I'm
Yeah,
sure will help a little bit, right? Like we've had now what, three?
yeah,
Three
two,
interest?
two.
Two or three?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, so my next question is like I know that as realtor, you see a lot of homes when
Mhm.
it comes to buying clients and selling clients and whatnot. So when you walk into a home for the very first time with your clients or at your client's home, what are kind of like the top three things that you try to look out in order to determine if they are ready to sell?
So if they're looking to sell and I'm
Yeah,
coming in for the first time,
yeah.
um, one, I would be looking at, whether the property shows well, like not obviously not staged well, but I mean, just it
Shows
shows,
well. Yeah.
the curb appeal is pretty, the plants are
Mhm.
kept up, you come into the house, it's not cluttered or um, it's so one, I would say curb appeal. Two, I would say um, what renovations have been done or even what other updates have been done to the home.
Mhm.
So major things that you may or may not see, like furnaces and air conditioners and roofs and windows and things like that, that are high value items. Those are things that you kind of need to know what state they're in uh,
Mhm.
for future consideration by buyers. And three really is just like, have they really made an effort to declutter and get rid of things that they don't want, or are they just starting that process, right? So is the home completely lived in and it's going to take months and months to get ready, or is it kind of in a stage where it's ready to go in the next couple of weeks?
Well,
So
having said that, then, like, what is the kind of the typical timeline that you recommend to your selling clients to give, to get them up to a place where their home is going to be market ready? Like, is there a timeline that you typically try to share with your clients?
so time wise, I mean, it's interesting because people often bring in a realtor a little too late, right? like
Beautiful for stagers.
like it's fun. Like, they're like, okay, I'm ready to sell it. Call a realtor.
Yeah.
Whereas I would really love to be included in plans like before,
Hmm.
so when they might be considering it in the next year, then I really want to be brought in at that point and say, okay, this is what you need to do to get your property ready,
Hmm.
or this is what I would suggest, or this is how it's going to be. This is the process. Anything that would kind of help them move themselves along so that they have a bit of a roadmap, right? Because I
Yeah.
can sort of give them a high level, hey, this is what I recommend for you. This is the timeline I'm sort of suggesting for you, and um, this is what we can kind of expect. And these are we're either going to bring in services like a stager, or we're going to bring in an inspector or something like that. So just gives them a good breakdown of what to expect over the next year. And it can be a gradual thing. It doesn't have to be a rush and a push to get things done like
Hmm.
within a week, because that's stressful.
It is very stressful for sure. And the more time that they have, the 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 more time they'll be able to make those necessary changes and updates without that sense of overwhelm, right? So I completely agree.
Yeah,
So
and most of the time you want, sorry, I'll
yeah,
just jump in. Most of the time you want people to actually live with the renovations that they do for
yeah,
themselves,
yeah,
right?
enjoy
And
it.
not renovate for somebody else. Because that's always
Exactly.
one thing I don't like, is when you have to renovate something and then it's for somebody else's benefit, but you hope it's for their benefit, right?
Yeah. Well, if I had a dollar for every time somebody says I should have done this
Right.
years ago so that I get to enjoy it too,
Exactly.
I'd be in a different place right now.
No
Um,
doubt.
so let's jump to the buyer side. So, what are you seeing that buyers are looking for right now, other than the best price, of course, but like, what are they looking for in a home? Because understanding that will also help sellers to understand what type of changes they're going to need to make to get their house market ready too, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, aside from value, I mean, buyers are always looking for good value when they're
Of
walking
course.
into a property. So, is the structure good? Is, the basics of the home good? But really what they're seeing is, can I live here? Do I love the floor plan? Um, is there pride of ownership? So you know that things have been maintained or kept
Hmm.
up, right? As opposed to things falling apart. Uh, and have renovations been done that would keep up? I guess, keep up
Mhm.
the value of the property. It doesn't have to be a stunning, you know, crazy renovation that was done a week ago. I mean, this could be just along the timeline of the property. Has it been updated? Has it been maintained? Has it been um, just pride of ownership? Like, have you done all of the things you could do to make it comfortable? Because if it's not, then they start seeing dollar signs,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, they're like, oh, I gotta do that. Oh, I gotta do that. Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cha-ching, cha-ching. So it really does help if you sort of maintain your property, A, and B, if you can update it as, as things either fall apart or as
Mhm.
you have the option or the opportunity to, then it's a great thing to do. They're all looking at HGTV right now and saying, "Gee, that's a beautiful property.
Yeah.
That's what I want."
Yes, of course.
So,
I
and
want
we
it
may,
too.
yeah, me too. And we may not have an HGTV ready property, but something that could potentially be that is certainly much more in line with what a lot of buyers are looking for right now.
Yeah, and especially when housing, the price of housing is as it is today, I from what I understand too is that, young couples, right? They're stretched pretty thin
Yeah.
if they are in a position to be lucky enough to buy a house. Like they don't have a lot of leftover money to do major renovations. So, I completely agree. Like the more move-in ready the house is, the better it's going to be. And, that's just the nature of how things are right now, right?
hmm Yeah, it's getting more and more difficult, I'd say, to find buyers that look at it as a project, right? Or
I
something
know.
that, somebody you can have a house that hadn't been updated since it was built. And, someone else will be like, oh, no, I'm not buying that. But
Because the
there
thing
are,
is, the reality is a full-on renovation. Take for example, the property you just described. Like they haven't done anything for 3 to 4 decades. To do a full-on renovation like that, it's going to be like $300,000 to $400,000,
yeah,
right? It's like it can be quite substantial if you're trying to open up walls and this and that. Like it's a lot.
it's a lot, and the time required is a lot. So you
Mhm.
really have to schedule yourself accordingly. Like it's not something you're going to move into and
Yeah.
then, renovate little bit by bit. It's going to be a total gut job, which means you're not moving into it anytime soon. So that
And
all has
nobody
to be
wants to live
planned
in
out.
a under construction.
Not like that, no. Yeah, so that's all sort of part of the buying process. It's the timeline and how much time and effort and money it will take to get a property to be where a buyer wants it to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So let's talk about staging because like that's near and dear to my heart. I know that we've worked together for years now, but
Yes.
why do you believe that professional staging can help and matter? Like why do you yourself use the services of professional staging?
Mhm. So one, obviously it's pretty, right? So it allows people, like, they feel good when they walk into the house. The house shows well, the pictures look good. It's a very comforting feeling to walking into a property that's been pretty, staged well, maintained well, shows well. Um, the other thing is it's good to try and remove items and things that are distractions.
Yeah.
So, like if you have furniture that is eclectic or furniture that is maybe not to the taste of the buyer,
Hmm.
then they may get distracted by it,
Yeah.
right? So they get hung up on things that are not even part of the sale,
Yeah.
and they keep focusing on those things and they don't see the house for the house.
Yes, for the
And
potential that it could
exactly.
be.
So it gets lost, and people will likely discount your house because they're
Hmm.
looking at it going, "Oh my gosh, did you see that?"
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yes.
And staging kind of neutralizes all that and just makes it a much more even playing field, I'd almost say, but elevates the house at the same time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like I remember when Claude and I bought our second home. Our first home was a new build, so that was not a problem. But our second home was a resale,
Mhm.
and I couldn't see past the baby pink and baby blue paint color and wallpapers that were throughout the house. I could not see past it.
Yeah,
But Claude kept trying to convince me that it's all fixable, it's all easy, like he'll do it, he'll repaint, blah blah blah. But then, and he's very good at all that stuff, but it's time, right? Like I had to live with that for I think 3 to 4 years because it took him forever to fix it, but it took him a lot of convincing to get me to see past that stuff. So I totally get it.
exactly. Yeah, it's part of I guess part of a realtor's job to sort of uh, distract them from things that will essentially distract them. So it's kind
Go
of a
on.
funny, yeah, let's not look at that. That's easily fixable. Don't worry about it. And to really identify those things that could be stumbling blocks for somebody, whereas somebody else will just see past it and say, no, I can fix that. No, I can change that.
Right.
And paint and wallpaper is essentially very inexpensive to fix or replace. So
For
it's
sure.
not something that should be a hang up, but it can be.
Yeah, yeah. Especially when there's a house that has all wallpaper. Remember that
Yep.
house?
Oh
Remember
yeah.
that one?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about home improvement. Now, this is where I find that sometimes you and I can disagree on is that what are some of the, home improvements that you would recommend for the greatest return on investment when selling? Because, like, for me, I think that the more you do, the better it is. But sometimes, like, understanding that there are budget limitations and whatnot. And I know that, there are different qualities of renovations too, and different qualities of products. There are ways to achieve that look and that updated and refreshed look on a budget. But what are some of the recommendations that you would recommend for home improvements to get it market ready?
Mm, usually none. And that's the honest truth. Um, yeah, like I know you and I have had this conversation before. So it's something about I do really challenge that belief of renovating for somebody else. Um, and I recognize that, you know, obviously we're trying to make a property as appealing as possible, and that's where I hang my hat on staging for that particular reason. But in terms of actually renovating something, I have a bit of a challenge with the idea of renovating something for somebody else's benefit.
But what about the, changes like painting and lighting and whatnot?
Those, I mean, that's
Like those are not
fine.
major. Like those are
No,
not major changes.
no, they're not. Painting is fine. I mean,
Mhm.
it's an easy thing to do. Lighting, of course, yes, that can be done. But I'm not one who typically is one to recommend, replacing flooring or replacing a kitchen or
The
a
major stuff.
bathroom, Like I don't see the value in that myself,
Mhm.
but I know some would disagree.
Agreed. Okay, so like I know that in the I would say the past year or two or after COVID actually, I've dealt with a lot of clients who have undergone like significant changes in their family life. So what advice would you give to families going through some of these emotional transitions like, downsizing or even like separations and things like that. Like, what recommendations do you have for people who are sort of in the process of going through this and having to sell?
So I think that's been a lot of what I've been dealing with, especially this year, as well. So estate sales, downsizing, challenging situations. Sellers are not always in a good place
Mhm.
when they're selling. Um, and I'm comfortable with that. Like it's something I'm very familiar with and very comfortable with. So with them, a lot of it is just being patient, which is something I kind of pride myself in being. I will take as long as I need, and I will let them take as long as they need to get things going. Uh, so they're always feeling supported by me and sort of assisted by me. And if they have questions, I have answers. And essentially, it's, we're going to get through this together. Like, we're going to do it. So, and it becomes a bit of a mantra, but it's also, I think it's kind of comforting for people to understand that there's somebody else in their corner, right, who's going to actually protect them and help them and do what needs to be done in order to get them through it.
Yeah,
So
couldn't
yeah.
agree more. Like it's people undergoing these major life changes, it's a huge transition. Like they're overwhelmed with all of that to begin with, and selling a house and, having to figure out what to do with the stuff that's in the house can be those that added challenge that, they don't need to deal with. So the more you support them, the better it is. So
Yep.
that is a great segue into my next question, which is, what should sellers be looking for when they're looking for a realtor to work with? Like, what are some, because the honest truth is there are so many, so many realtors. Everybody knows at least one realtor in their life. So but not all realtors are great realtors. And I know you're a great realtor, and I know that your team as approach is really about supporting and guiding your clients through this very complex process. But, what are some things that people should be looking for?
I mean, there are a lot of realtors out there, yes. And I think it just makes sense. Like there's somebody for everybody. I could almost just say it like that. There's someone for everyone, and you have to find somebody that you're comfortable with, somebody that makes you, um, assures you, and makes you feel comfortable in making that decision to work with them. So whether that's the personality of the person or the services they offer or anything else, or a combination of all of those things, I think it's just something that you have to kind of check out a couple of realtors or three, or interview them, talk to them, get some recommendations from friends and family, and just find somebody who you really mesh well with, because you're going to be spending a long time with these people.
And it's
Like,
very personal, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, if it was me, of course, I'm in your property, I'm in your home, maybe multiple times. I could be there without you. I could be there with you. So it's got to be somebody that you're comfortable with, somebody that you really feel is doing their best to protect you and help you.
Mhm.
And if you're not getting that feeling from them, then they're probably not the right person or the right fit for you. There's all of us, we all have different personalities and different strengths. So I think there's definitely somebody out there that will uh, be like the seller.
I agree. Like I completely agree with what you're saying. Because right, like for me, it's what would I say? Like it's got to be more than transactional, right? Like you know,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
it's
I
got to be
mean,
more because it's so personal. Like this being your home and whatnot.
I very rarely, like I tell most of my clients, I'm with you for life. Like this is you're not losing me. Once the transaction is over, I don't disappear into the ether. I am around, I am available always. They can always count on me and call me and ask questions and what have you. So exactly. I don't work on a transactional basis. I do tend to keep my clients around for my career. So.
Well, having said that, then, like, I know that you've shared a lot about your approach already, but, what are some, like, a few things that you would say that set you apart from other agents or brokers?
So, ooh, that's a hard one. Um, Patience is probably my number one
That you
thing
are.
that I am, yeah, patient to a fault, right?
Very
To a
patient.
point, where it's just I will I'm fine with, months of getting through a transaction or um, issues or what have you. Like I'm always okay with working on a seller's timeline or a buyer's timeline. I'm not pushing anyone. I'm not a hard sale. I don't like to work that way. I don't ever want someone to come back to me and say, yeah, but you made me XYZ. That's not my personality. So I don't have that strong sales push
Yeah.
that maybe
Pushy.
others, yeah, that maybe others do,
Mhm.
which can be good or can be bad, I guess, in some situations. But
I would
overall,
say
I,
that
it's
you're
helpful.
heart-centered.
Yeah, I'm truly in it for the client. Like I'm there to protect them, I'm there to help them, and that's it. Like this is not an about me thing. It's an about them thing, and I'm just there when they need me to be there to do what they need me to do, and I'll do my best to do it, right? I will move heaven and earth to get things done. So,
That's amazing, amazing. So, having said that, then, so if someone wants to learn more about you and your services and want to reach out and have more questions, what's the best way to reach you?
ooh, I'm around. I have I've got a Facebook page. I've got, of course, email or call, text, my website, my YouTube channel, my Instagram page. They're all accessible to find me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much again for taking the time out of your busy day to do this with me. I really appreciate it, and I know that you're gonna have an amazing end of the year, and 2026 is gonna be even better for you. So
Hopefully.
yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
For everyone, everyone that is in this crazy industry. Um,
Exactly.
so, so thank you so much for your time and valuable insight into this very challenging real estate market that we are in right now. But if you want to chat with Rebecca further or have more specific questions, um, uh, as it relates to real estate, or just even talk about, charitable work and whatnot, you will find Rebecca's contact information in the show notes below. And remember, when you take care of your home, it'll take care of you. Until next time, bye for now. Thank you for listening to the House Therapy Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, be sure to follow the show and share it with someone who would love it too. For more tips, resources, or to work with me directly, visit isodesign.ca. Until next time, remember, with a little effort, every home can be beautiful and every space can be functional. And remember, you deserve it.